Well,
Get the Battle of Alberta, baby.
well, you're what, 30, what?
I'm 31.
31.
Yeah.
So you were born in 1991.
1990.
1990.
Turning 32.
Okay, so you were still shitting your diaper when the last Battle of Alberta occurred.
Yeah, exactly. 30 years ago.
You're not still doing that, right?
Not as often.
No, okay. Yeah.
Much less often.
No, but
And I wasn't even born. I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's eye the last time that Montreal-Toronto took on each other.
before last year.
Before last year.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, we're getting some cool stuff happening in the playoffs right now.
Well, I think that we need to have a bit of a story time or history lesson here.
Okay.
For anybody who's under 40 and doesn't realize exactly what the Battle of Alberta is.
Tell me again about the olden days, Ken.
It might when
there was once a man with a mustache.
when it was at its height in the 1980s and early 90s.
Yeah.
There was not a rivalry in hockey that was more intense than that one. And,
Really?
and the thing about it was they had the proximity, they had the provincial rivalry,
Yeah.
and they were both elite teams in the NHL.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because they were built so differently. Like the Oilers had, the greatest show on ice.
Yeah.
And the Calgary Flames just chipped away.
Lunch pail.
And they went after a bunch of college guys.
Yeah.
The Gary Suitors, the Joe Nieuwendykes, the Joel Ottos, the Neil Sheehys, down the line. They went after those guys and they created a team that was almost as good as the Edmonton Oilers, but just not quite. And they were only, it's the Battle of Alberta, truth be known, is as one-sided as all get out. Right? Like the Oilers have owned the Calgary Flames in the playoffs. Right? With the exception of basically 1986.
Yeah.
And so it's really like it's like nothing you've ever seen before, and you're going to see it now.
Yeah.
Like you're going to see, the Red Mile, and you're going to see White Avenue in Edmonton. And, there was at the time in the 80s, there was this bar in Red Deer, which is like basically smack dab between Edmonton and Calgary. And it was they had a bar there, and they would paint a line down the middle of the bar. And everybody on the north side of the bar would be cheering for Edmonton. Everybody on the south side of the bar would be cheering for Calgary.
Yeah.
That's how cool this was. And it's going to be epic, I think. It's going to be great. And we're back to the same narratives, right? Like
That's
the Oilers,
exactly what I was going to say.
The Oilers have the elite talent, the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And the Calgary Flames are, sort of this team that plays with a real identity.
Funniest part about that narrative, best part about that narrative that is still true today, the Oilers have the modern day Grant Fuhr. and Mike Smith there.
But if you're talking about Mike Smith, can you say anything modern day? Like, really? Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy remembers the last time that oil prices went up and they took the motors out of the cars and hooked them up to horses, the Bennett buggies. Oh boy. This is a series that I am so excited for. And it's not exactly a hot take. I'm not letting any big cats out of the bag.
Nope.
I feel like you know that Norm Macdonald joke where he's like, I don't care what anyone says. The more I read about that Hitler fella, I don't like him. Like as if he's like the only one with that opinion. I don't want to be sitting here and being like, I don't care if you think it's going to be boring. I'm really excited for the Battle of Alberta.
It's not going to be boring.
It's not going to be boring.
It's not going to be boring.
It's going to be so
it's going to be
good.
It's going to be intense.
Oh, man.
Matthew Tkachuk is going to skate around hopefully for 7 games wearing the black hat.
Yep.
It is going to be just it's like I said, I mean, to someone who hasn't experienced it and seen it, I think you're really in for something special here.
I think that you're right. I think that the big difference could be in goal.
Yep.
Jacob Markstrom had an ordinary series against Dallas. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't.
Well, I thought he was pretty brilliant, actually. I thought he was.
I felt he wasn't Norris finalist Jacob Markstrom. He was
Vezina finalist. He's not a defenseman.
It's the last line of defense, Ken. Okay, a goalie should get the Norris every year.
Yeah. I think the problem was that Jake Ottinger at the other end was so lights out that you kind of forget how good.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying that he was
was.
bad. I'm not saying that he was bad. I'm just saying that he was made to look. To your point, he was made to look. He lost the goalie battle, I guess is my point.
But
and one of those guys is a Vezina finalist, and one of those guys is not. That's all. I'm circling around.
Yep.
But so I think that there's another level in Markstrom's game that we could see. And I think that there's another level in Mike Smith's game that we can see. The difference is that one of those levels is up and one of those levels is down.
Yeah, the only thing is like the guy threw up like a 945.
I know.
I mean...
So I tweeted out Natural Stat Tricks goals saved above average for the different goalies.
Yeah.
Which is or some people call it goals saved above expected, but it's on... Anyways, basically it's a really good measure as a catch-all stat for goaltenders, because it takes a statistical league average goalie and then how much better did you do than him and how much worse did you do. And the best was like Jake Ottinger and Mike Smith and the worst was like Vasilevskiy and a few other people. And I was just like, just as we all predicted.
Over the course of 7 games in the first round, Mike Smith faced 68 more shots than Jacob Markstrom did.
It's unreal.
So over the course of a game, that's almost 10 shots a game. Yeah. He faced almost 10 shots a game more than Jacob Markstrom did.
Yeah.
In that series.
Okay, so the best goalies for goals saved above expected, Jake Ottinger saved in 7 games 11.6 goals more than a statistical league average goalie.
Wow.
So that's almost
2 goals.
That's almost 2 goals a game.
Goal and a half
it's a goal and 3/4, whatever a game.
Yeah.
He saved, it's like, you know what I mean? Like Calgary would have wanted those goals. No. Then Mike Smith is second for 6.5 goals more, which is
almost a goal a game.
Almost a goal a game.
And if you throw out game 1, I bet you it skyrockets. That number skyrockets because he was terrible.
Oh, he was so bad in game 1.
He was terrible in game 1. Yeah.
I was like, oh boy, this is not going to go well. Anyways, then it's Binnington, Ranta, Casey DeSmith, Darcy Kemper, Shalgren, Georgiev, Ingram, Samsonov, Swayman, Francouz, Ville Husso. So then that's the list as it goes down. But yeah.
I didn't hear Bobrovsky on that list.
Bobrovsky is sitting at 19th. Sorry, he's sitting at 19th with minus 1.42 goals saved above expected.
Wow.
So doing quite well. Just below him, Cam Talbot. And the worst on the list is David Riddick, but the second worst on the list, Andrei Vasilevskiy with minus 3.47.
Over the course of 7 games. So half a goal a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ideal.
Except for game 7 when he was ridiculous.
Yeah, right. When he needed to be, then he just said, oh, hang on.
Wait a minute. I'm Andrei Vasilevskiy. Wait a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Fellas, I got a fever. The only cure is more saves.
More Andrei Vasilevskiy.
Yeah. And then just above Andrei Vasilevskiy was Jack Campbell with minus 3.43 compared to 3.47.
Wow, and everybody talks
Some
about
of that could have to do
was.
with shooting talent, though, in that series. Because, like, other than Connor McDavid, that series had the best shooting talent in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, okay, your prediction for Calgary versus Edmonton. Your prediction for the Battle of Alberta.
I'm going to go on an upset. I'm taking Edmonton in 7.
Oh, nice. And the percentage?
53.
All right. So I'm down 19.
Now you're going to be all strategic about it, right? Because you're losing by 19 And now you're just going to go on a wild swing the other way.
Why not?
So either you're going to be right and you're going to catch up, or I'm just going to demolish you.
Listen, cry me a river. The hard part of being at the top.
No way. You have to make your bets and your
swear to you today.
Your guesses based on what you actually think is a series.
And I actually do think it's
You're going to be strategic. You're going to be like that guy on The Price is Right when the guy goes, okay, and what's your guess? I'll guess $875, Bob. And then they come to the next guy. I'll go 876. I always wanted to punch that guy right in the face. Don't be a dick.
I haven't said anything yet.
No, but you know what I mean? Just don't be a dick about it.
Okay. I'm taking Calgary, and I'm taking them at 65%.
Okay, so I'm 53. So if you win this series, I'm only +1. But if Calgary wins this series, I go down to +1.
Not a reasonable pick for Calgary? I'm pretty high on Calgary.
Yeah, I would be too. I would be too.
Except that you're not.
No, I am.
Yeah, you're picking the upset.
I'm picking an upset here because number one.
Do you want me to start picking first?
I don't give a damn what you do. I'm so far ahead of you, and I'm gonna win anyways. It doesn't matter.
Cry me a river. The perils of being on top, eh? Yeah, listen to you. You're like, you're like the 1% complaining about taxes. Just get out of here with this.
I feel Edmonton because I feel like, number one, there's a couple of reasons why I'm picking Edmonton. Yeah. Number one, I feel like Connor McDavid is on a mission.
He's on one.
He's on a mission.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure that there's anybody that can stop that guy when he says, we're going to win.
Yeah.
Number two, with the exception of 6 weeks where it was spread over the pandemic and it took a lot longer than it was supposed to, and it was awful and terrible, with the exception of that 6 weeks, the Edmonton Oilers are an elite NHL team.
Yeah.
They're an elite NHL team. Okay?
Yeah.
So I think you have to kind of push that one aside. And when you push aside those 6 weeks when they couldn't do anything right, they're right there.
The Calgary Flames are an elite NHL team, including those 6 weeks.
Exactly. And the third reason is there's just times when Montreal beats Boston for no reason. They're not supposed to, but they do.
That's happened like 7 times.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, but they do. And I just feel like this is another one of those times when the hockey gods are going to smile on Edmonton.
I think that you've got yourselves a 7-game series.
Yep.
And I think that throughout the course of a 7-game series, I think that Daryl Sutter outcoaches Jay Woodcroft, who, by the way, somebody needs to write Jay Woodcroft and say, get yourself touch of gray hair dye, okay? It's, the dyeing it jet black is a little much,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. He should just let it go the way some other distinguished, good-looking old guys do.
Bob McKenzie.
Yeah, him. Yep.
But I just think that throughout 7 games, Daryl Sutter will be finding a way to completely just box out Edmonton. And I agree, McDavid is on one. And I think that McDavid will score goals. And I think that Daryl Sutter will say, you let McDavid score goals, and then you just make sure nobody else scores goals.
There's so little to choose.
He gets 2 goals and 4 goals.
We get 3. All we need to do is get 3. It's pretty easy.
He's so funny, man. I honestly I love Daryl Sutter quotes.
He's totally rehabilitated himself, eh?
Oh, totally.
Like just everybody loves him now.
Yeah. The Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So, okay.